locker and yeah, working fine.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Glad to see everyone here. Wow, we have a lot of people coming in.
Yeah,
How you doing, Tana?
all fine. After work, sync session now.
Sounds good. Yeah, today's a very exciting day. I'm glad everyone is able to be here and get more information on staking and bonding. We're really excited to be having this sync session. We'll be starting soon. All right. Hello, Meowshi. We have Meowshi up in here now. Meowshi, you there? You good?
100%. Send it.
Nice. And we also have our beautiful engineer Kasuhu. Kasuhu, how you doing today?
Just woke up. Send it.
Nice. Beautiful. Me too. So don't worry about it.
Send
Great.
it.
So I think we're pretty good. We have like 65 people in the audience. People are still coming in. So yeah, I think we can get started. Thank you everyone for joining our sync session for bonding and staking. Thank you for coming by today. This session will give you like information on the details on our staking and bonding, and basically going over the general time frame in which it's going to be released. So basically, we have Meowshi and Kazoo here today that will go over the bonding and staking, and then after that, we can get some questions through the vent chat. And Meowshi even said that he's willing to let some people come up and ask their questions live. So look forward to that. And without further ado, let's get started. So, I guess the first question that I have is, Meowshi and Kasuhu, is there any like details you can give on like how the MVP works? Like, could you give us a little walkthrough on like what the MVP is and basically how it works from a user perspective?
Yeah, I mean maybe do you want to start, Miyoshi? Because I guess
So,
there's the policy angle, the mathematics and stuff, perhaps, and then the UX.
Yeah, for sure. I'll give my small brain version, and you feel free to add on, my boss. By the way, I have some picture. I want to send it to you. We haven't talked. I will send it later to you for
Send
security. But well, nonetheless, right? Concave. Like just before going to MVP, I think it's good to start where Concave is. This is obviously right. Where I think things are going. I mean, obviously, where the community thinks things should be going matters even more. But from my angle, right, from day one, we've been sort of crafting it together with the community. Concave is a protocol that we raise the treasury, right? We manage the treasury to earn income. Then we provide services to earn income. Then eventually we distribute the income in a fair and generous way, right? That's what Concave is all about. And then to achieve that, one of the goals is to raise the treasury, right? To efficiently raise the treasury without detrimenting or preserving the values of existing shareholders. We need to do bonding, right? As I mentioned in a couple articles before. So we need to do bonding in a super smart way, super efficient way, so we can efficiently raise the treasury, right? Without all the the damages like like many other protocols are doing bonding, right? So we do the bonding in a smart way. Part of MVP is a smart bonding machine, which help us efficiently raise the treasury, right? And then through bonding, we'll be generating two type of revenues directly. One is directly, the other one is indirectly. The direct one will be also distributing quote unquote some sort of bonding revenue as a form of native token in CMV, and the other one indirectly will be raising a treasury, use the treasury to generate, whether it's to invest or to manage, to generate income, which then will be distributed as dividend, which mostly will likely be in stable coins, right? So the goal is to distribute those in a very fair way, right? We want to reward trust, not the capital, which is why we have this liquid staking, or I personally call it the lock staking. Lock staking feature, which will be, which will allow user to lock up your CME token for a certain time. The longer you lock, the more the more rewards you will get in both the native returns and the non-native returns, the stable return, the dividend that we were talking about, right? The goal is to reward trust. Like a very good caveat here is that because a lot of people are mentioning, right, bonding is dilutive, it hurts your it hurts your the value of stakeholders. 100% sure, right? But with lock staking, we can make sure that the long lock ones, or the ones who really trust the project, won't be diluted at all through the lock staking feature interacting with the smart bonding machine. So that's the second part, the lock staking or the liquid staking, right? Which will allow you to lock up your liquidity, but earn a boost on your rewards, both the native one and the dividend, which is in non-native token. So this is the overview of how things works. And in the grand scheme of things, the MVP is just the foundation, right? Build the infrastructure of how we are going to earn the money and distribute the money going forward. I see the MVP as an infrastructure foundation in the grand scheme of things. Again, this is my personal high-level take, and hope that makes sense to all of you guys.
Sounds good, Miaoshi. Thanks for the great response. Kasuwa, do you have anything to add on that?
No, that captures it pretty well. Yeah, I'd say maybe big picture is like, a lot of these rebase, actually probably all of these rebase-based protocols, there's this kind of sleight of hand that happens where when a rebase happens, the person inside thinks that they're winning, right? Or they might be winning to some degree. But in fact, every rebase you sit through, you're getting diluted, like pretty seriously. Of course, here, I think the main difference, like I guess conceptually, is that if you believe in the protocol, as the protocol grows, you capture that growth in tandem, actually with a slight premium on that growth. So like you're here, if you're here, and that's specifically in the 365 position, right? That's the anti-dilutive position. Everything else will dilute you to varying degrees, but with less severity accordingly as an inverse function of the lock time and such. But big picture is, hey, if you believe in what's going on here, like you're going to win as much as we win, and we're designing the mathematics around that. Like we highly reward trust. So from a user perspective, I guess the most basic thing is to say, hey, if you come in here and put anything with confidence inside of this protocol, like we are designing it so that you come up with us to the pretty much the exact same extent, actually a little bit more so than we do. But yeah, I think Miaoshi pretty much covered it. Otherwise,
Sounds good, sir. Wait, am I still live?
yes, sir.
All right, sounds good. I
100%.
thought I cut off for a moment. All right, thank you guys very much for the great response. And so Slurms McKenzie asks, will bonding as a service be launched alongside CMD bonding?
So that I can tell you definitely not, because the contracts need to be slightly reworked. There's a whole angle that Miaoshi can elaborate on, which is the off-chain, like Python sort of evaluation of things to inform the smart bonding machine, which is like an angle that doesn't that necessarily makes it not permissionless, right? Because then we have to go in there, sort of hold their hand through the mathematics, maybe, and so on. So we were thinking of making a V1 implementation of a permissionless bonds as a service, which didn't include that Python off-chain sort of calculation, and something like that. Anyone could go in and conceivably create a bond depot for themselves. Most likely, what happened would be that protocols do it, because at least in my eyes, the ones who would really want to get who'd want to do this would probably be protocols looking to secure liquidity. Maybe there's some other cases that are applicable, but I think that's like the long tail, and the fat tail would, or fat part of the curve would be protocols and such. We do have that in the Epic. I actually spoke to Triton yesterday about that, kind of going over how to make the, what we want the designs to look like for that. The contract work is not great. It's stripping down an existing contract to exclude some functionality, make it a bit simpler, and so on. So short answer, no, we're not. But it's actually, I would say it might be our priority number one, apart from the marketplace. Like right after the marketplace, I think that's the direction we're going. But yeah, feel free to correct me, anyone on the call.
Yeah, 100%. I think that the part is right, and then I think the launch of that is a little bit. It's not a product launch; it's more of a service launch, right? You're providing services to potential customers, so the launch could be a little muddy. I mean, I would say, right, even without we don't have a formal product, we're in active talks with those partners. Mostly, that talk takes a while. There are two reasons. Number one, some of them want a little bit of customize a solution, right, which will take some time to develop, and then some of them are not super into this bonding thing, so they want us to educate them through what we're doing, also see things as it goes, and so that they can get more confident or more understanding what's going on. So that process is already happening, has already happened, is going currently, but that's the important part of the process, right? We want a customer solution, and also we want to be able to actively communicating and educating the partner. So that's going, but it won't be I think a lot of them are in the learning, waiting and see mode, and which will be the interest is super high, and then they will be ready to jump in when it starts, when they're ready, and when we're ready. I think Akram can speak to a little bit of that himself. The other thing I want to mention is that from our end, right, we are gauging demand, and in the first place, we have a solution that I think we can just manage. We can help them manage with the existing solution that we're using, right? Again, I want to mention that we want to focus on our product is rock solid before actually, really if I'm not 120% sure of my product, I'm not going to use that product to other people. So that's the focus, and then the thing I want to mention is, we thought we can just use the same thing or same structure, right, with existing customers. But to gauge the demand, gauge who our customers are, which we can't disclose yet, right, is that we want to be also think about what's the most efficient way, what's the most scalable way to help them going forward, and that's the part we're discussing internally as well, and potentially there will be changes on that front. So, but the gist is there are a lot of moving pieces, and potentially the demand is higher than we expected, and the customers are more impactful and bigger than we expected. So, so there is optimization of make the solution more scalable there as well. So I just want to be super transparent on that front. Yeah.
And from a partnerships perspective, we have been reaching out to a lot of protocols. A lot of protocols do seem interested. But yeah, a lot of them, we want to make sure that our staking and our bonding product is, absolutely ready. And so we would like to launch our own bonding products and then, basically see how it goes and then make refinements on the way. And so I know Kasuo brought up, and this is not in the list, so I'm sorry about that, but I know Kasuo brought up permissionless bonds. So could anyone tell the audience a brief overview of what permissionless bonds are and how they would affect the whole bonding protocol?
Yeah, so you could think of it one really I guess maybe a simple way to put it would be the like a AMM, right? Like a Uniswap, right? Anyone can go and deploy a pool on Uni. There's no barrier to entry per se, apart from knowing how to deploy a pool on Uni, right? So it would be kind of that's sort of the vibe. And Uni gets some, they get some cut of that total volume that exists, and the LPs that are provided there have to kind of pay the tithe, sort of thing. So it's that same paradigm, but now shifted to bonding, right? So now people can pretty much anyone would be able to, just the same way we have we're rolling out the UI for adding liquidity. It would be something like rolling out a UI for adding, liquidity into a bond depository, or really even spinning one up, because you'd have to do that in order to get the proper access controls and be sure that you're the one running the ship and so on that pool. But that's kind of the idea. It's permissionless means you can go in there and you don't need permission. Anyone you can go in there and do use that service without like any oversight. Whereas like a bonds as a service model, of course, would involve us being like more hands-on, kind of like Olympus Pro. So imagine Olympus Pro, but without needing to like, coordinate with the engineering core, the policy, you know what I mean, all this onboarding stuff like that. So it's meant to empower the power user, but I kind of see it mostly being relevant toward protocols. But yeah, well, there's discussion to that needs to take place on this, of course. Like as you guys have mentioned, we need to first confirm the software works for our own protocol and iterate accordingly. But yeah, that's probably the big picture view on that one.
Yeah, and I want to bring this up because personally, I'm very bullish on like bonding. Like if we can get permissionless bonds going, we can basically be sort of the premier bonding service, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only caveat there is that it's possible that we're unable to devise a bonding service that's simple enough to make it permissionless, which doesn't, ours is going to work predicated upon like the mathematics of the off-chain notebook, the Python notebook, right? So we'd have to solve that problem of like, well, how do we make a really robust service without us needing to be on top of it all the time? And I can't say that we've solved that like beyond a shadow of a doubt at this moment. So I think more realistically, what would happen is we probably have to do this more oversight model first with partners, and then going forward, perhaps figuring out some way to go permissionless. But the big picture is bonding works for us first, and then we try to use it to empower our partners, empower the community. But what comes first is a matter of like technological constraints and stuff like that, and having solutions to what might be somewhat complicated or unsolvable problems.
Got
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it all comes down to like the problem, like the trilemma of any like most of the problem in the blockchain or in the DeFi world, right? The security, the scalability, also the quality, right? Like yeah, it will be a little bit different for blockchain, and we're like mostly we'll be trying to find a balance of the three. And yeah, like I think we have all the tools, and it's just we're trying to optimize the balance that we want to strike among this trilemma problem.
Sounds good. Well, if anyone can figure it out, I'm sure it's our team. So thank you. And so let's see. Slimes McKenzie asks, what kind of liquidity would be there for NFT positions? I mean, that's up to the
Yeah, that's up
right?
to the individuals. Yeah, so like the idea there is that we'll have, let's just imagine a scenario where everyone's super bullish and we have 90% locked in year-long staking, right? So the quote-unquote liquidity will be a matter of how many people offer positions up on the marketplace and how active others are in pursuing those positions, bidding on those positions, and so on. But it is strictly contingent on market participants. So yeah, like right. I think that answers the question.
All right, sounds good. So okay, so Spaceman Jeff has 3 questions. Let's see. So okay, this is a good question. So with the NFT lock staking positions, what happens with the NFT at the end of the locking period?
Right. So at the end of the locking period in the contracts, pretty much all that happens is when a NFT is minted, we take the timestamp and say, all right, well, you're in pool X, Y, or Z. So what you're going to need to redeem accordingly. So if you put you lock up in the year-long pool when that NFT is minted, we take the creation timestamp of the block at that moment. We add 365 days and seconds, and that's the maturity point. And on the unlock, what's happening there is we're simply checking, hey, do you own this NFT? Does this belong to you? Okay. Second check is, has the proper amount of time elapsed? Is this thing redeemable, right? Because the question is what happens when it's redeemable. So if that time has elapsed, so then it will be on the user at that point to click a button on a positions page to simply claim the rewards that had been accrued over that period in which they were staked. So yeah, I think that gets it there, right? That's the question.
Got it. Got it. All right. So also asks if relocking the underlying token is an option. Is it the same NFT or a new one?
It would be a new one. Yeah, like let's say you were to lock 100 times with, let's say you have 100 CNV and you lock, right, once. Okay, well, that's one NFT, but you could just the same make really an infinite amount of subdivisions. So if you wanted to lock that 100 CNV, for 100 individual positions, 1,000 individual positions, the subdivisions the permutations are as flexible as the fixed point of ETH. So you could go like you could be pretty, you can diversify, I suppose, if you want, but no, you would make a new position if you were to relock. And yeah.
Sounds good. And for I know there's a lot of questions in the event chat from you beautiful people. We're not ignoring you guys. I'm just going through the questions that we have so far, and after that, I've told Tana to basically collect the questions that you've posted live, and then we'll go over the good ones live. So yeah, we're not ignoring you guys. Just be a little patient. We'll get there. All right. So third question: if it's a new one, can we delay relocking tokens, or would we risk losing our place in the pool?
Can we delay relocking if it's a new one? You risk your position. Okay, well, yeah, that's an interesting question. You could conceivably, right? Sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, I want the losing the pool part. I think the current mechanisms, it depends on which pool you are. I think so. I mean, I'm pretty sure it depends on which pool you are. If you are not the longest pool, I don't think I think the minimum for losing your place in pool is minimal. But if you're in the longest pool and there is a good amount of there's like a very good amount of demand in that pool, there is a slight chance you might be losing it, but not huge. This is my synthesis.
Got it. And so we also have Shanghai up in here. Shanghai, you want to say hi to the audience real quick before we move on?
No, I'm just here in case we have to help answer some questions.
Got it. Great. Thank you for coming by. All right. So we're 20 minutes in. Let's go to the next question. So Mike's Newman asks, will the NFT marketplace be included in the launch?
Oh, I think we have our NFT.
Coming soon. Blurs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll do it for a few weeks, and then because that's the thing. You can't the kind of NFT marketplace is not. You only need it when we have the NFT positions, right? Which will be after staking. So, so you won't be technically part of it, but it will be coming up soon.
Yeah, that's all happening like asynchronously. So the contracts are being finalized on that. The UI is pretty much all done with that. So yeah, we're of course taking precedence on making sure, because marketplace is like, as far as software goes, it's not a solution that's like cryptic or unknown in the space. It's probably one of the more vanilla problems to tackle in DeFi. So we're not worried about that angle as much. That although we are working on it, of course, and we're right after bonding and staking is completely good. The mathematics is good. Really, we're more concerned about, hey, are the bonds working? Is the staking working? Because that's where the vector will come from, if there is any. And but that's being worked on. It is coming very soon after the fact. So I imagine it would be 1 or 2 sprints max. But it could be much shorter. But I err on the side of caution on that timeline wise. So don't hold me to the gun. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's what comes down to this agile framework we're following, is continually, delivering this content based on proposed plans and goals, right? Obviously, the current goal and plan, right, which we've really focused on for the sprints that we're working on right now, the current goal is literally bonding and staking. Uh, Nonetheless, some of our sprints have been already targeting certain other components that are not part of the main goal. So that's obviously always in motion. We're constantly trying to continually deliver content, but we're definitely not trying to release all at once and just do a release that's not really full to expectations or quality controlled really. But it's definitely is definitely in the pipeline and part of the continual delivery that we're going to be putting out of content, basically.
Sounds good, sir. Sounds good. All right. So question number 5. El Sepultura asks. I hope I got that right. If I didn't, I apologize. How fast do we expect the non-dilutive 12-month staking pool to fill up?
So, well, how many apes does it take to screw in a light bulb? I guess is the answer to that question. But we've set it up such that up to 90% of the total, I believe, Miyashi, please correct me if I'm wrong, but as of last I spoke to Sir, we can get up to 90% of the circulating supply into the year-long staking pool. So we don't want to. We're giving people the opportunity to get in there if they want, So regarding answering the question, yeah, that's very hard to predict. Probably it won't be that bad to get in initially, since there's all sorts of like uncertainty in the market regarding, well, in general, like macro wise, but also for our protocol. I'm sure people are looking at us. They'll need to look at the contracts and decide for themselves whether or not they want to put their funds into that pool. And as time goes on, confidence will be built, I'm sure. And you know what I mean? So tricky question. Probably not that bad initially, but in the case that we are, working diligently and showing to the community we can be trusted, the contracts are safe, everything is operating as intended, which again is why we're delaying this so much in the first place, is to get it like airtight for you guys. Yeah, a couple of conditions you'd have to consider there, but yeah, go ahead if you'd like to. Me, actually, if you want to add anything to that.
I just assume the one that'll really be hard to get in is the 30-day. That's probably
Yeah,
what
true,
everyone's
right?
gonna be aping, really.
Yeah, true. I mean, in
30
that
days.
case, we win, right? The more people don't ape into the year long, the more we win, because then, we're coming out straight up and saying, hey, look, you're getting diluted here. Like, we're telling you, you're getting diluted. You don't want to get diluted. This is the pool to go to. But it's pretty much rewarding trust and punishing distrust, essentially.
Yeah, just want to be clear. Still going to be much better than the dilution you're gonna from the legacy model if you lock it about 30 days. It's still better, all right?
Oh yeah,
But
no doubt.
but it's not as good compared to the 360. Yeah, I mean it all depends on people. Like I mean I don't want to make I really can't predict. There's so many variables, right? The market sentiment, the demand across each of the demand between rewards versus liquidity. I mean this market is just an open question at the moment. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and I think this leads well into our next question from MR, which asks, what are the limits to each of the staking pools?
I think we only have the one for the 12 months, which is I don't want to say exactly 90% because I think we have some intricate thing there, but like yeah, we only have the limit in the super long one. Others there's no.
Great.
Also,
All
another thing
right.
to mention, which I think maybe gives a little context, is as the bonds roll out, right, the staking cap is dynamic too. So it is increasing in relation to the protocol itself, or the circulating supply growing, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, if you don't get in, we're opening the positions to get in are opening up as like time passes. Assuming that the market is engaging with our protocol and stuff. So it's not like, hey, 10 people can get in, that's it. Everyone else pack it up and go home. So yeah.
Great. Thank you for the response. All right, Q. Question number 7. Mike's new name asks, what are the APYs on the pool likely to be when it says 2 times boost? Is this just 2 times what you put in, or is it like a dynamic APY?
Well,
I mean, I
it
think
has
it's
to be
2 times.
dynamic.
Yeah.
It has to be dynamic because it's contingent on the bonding events, right? But yeah, Miyashi, please, boss, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's dynamic, and then 2 times means you're just. I mean, like it's the same thing, right? You times 2 times the reward on the same amount of money, or 2 times the money on the same amount of rewards. I think mathematically it's the same thing, but I think in terms of how we calculate, we take into compounding. I think it's a 2 times APY.
Do we have the proposed amount of days, Yoshi? I mean, you have those finalized, the exact amount of days that the lockups will be for the different tiers?
Uh, Do you mean the different pools?
It should
Yes,
be
different
accurate
pools.
on
Yeah.
staging.
It's like 40, 90, 180, 360, right?
Okay. Yeah, I know it's
Yeah.
on staging. I'm just trying to.
45, 90.
Nobody else has seen staging, so that's what I'm trying to say. Just kind of release some alpha of the actual staking periods that are available, right? Because we're just talking about
Yeah, you
months
can
and
release them.
days.
This should be accurate.
But if we're
Yeah.
finalized
Send
and
it.
ready to go, we can share them. You know, the actual staking periods of what they are.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I think that would. Oh, Sheng, you want to say something? Or are you good?
Oh no, yeah, we can drop it. I'm good with that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that information will give users a lot more perspective on like what the APYs will look like for each tier. So yeah, looking forward to that. All right. And Max New Name also asks, what's in store for Concave after staking and bonding? Any interesting alpha to share?
Oh, maybe partnerships wants to give a little juice around that one.
So yeah, for basically once our staking and bonding goes live, we're gonna start really running for the bonding as a service. We did have a lot of interested parties, and so we're gonna be working with them on implementing basically a customized solution on like basically what works for them, because we know that every protocol's needs are different. And there's also a lot of like interesting services that we could potentially offer. I don't know, Kyle, if you want to add anything to that, since he works with me on partnerships, but we have a lot of like interesting demands, I would say. And Kyle, do you want to say something?
I'd like to mention the incubator program that we've recently spun up, which is taking a concept from its original, taking the original concept and then incubating it into full maturity. So offering like our services, such as staking and bonding, but other services as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah, and like these are like very interesting products. Like I really want to start sharing our seed investments and our like incubation projects. We're getting there. We're still waiting on the information from them, and then we're just scheduling the co-marketing. But for like these investments, look forward to them. We're gonna do a lot of co-marketing once everything is ready. So we're really excited about these projects. We think they're gonna do great, and yeah, like the benefit of these projects will go to you guys as well, essentially. Great. So that's from the partnership side.
Yeah, I just want to add a few things. I mean, obviously there are a lot of things to do, and there is, we're constantly building. So again, right, as I mentioned in the first place, we're just two angles. We provide service to earn money, then we make money with treasuries, right? Those are the two angles we're doing, right? Partnerships, they're chats. They have different ways for us to generate, like income through the good quality services that we're providing. And from the infrastructure end, there will be a whole suite of things. I think because we can provide more colors if you want it, but we're attached to it, right? Whole suite of things we can do from our AMM ecosystem, which will be make I think a lot of things we are already prototyping is super, or testing, and the backend is super, I would say, groundbreaking, right? We want to create a new ecosystem so that is efficient, market efficient, capital efficient, and also at the same time it will earn us that the money. So there it will be fun, right? So that's a lot of work to do on the AMM side. Also we talk about the bonding and servers, and from the treasury management side, this market, right, will be super opportunistic, and at the same time we'll be spinning up the automated delta neutral farming machine after the MVP. A lot, the policy team is building on a corner. I mean, we cracked the math, so we're building on a framework and a model to actually manage it. Yeah, so there will be, I mean, as you know, right, we're mostly in stable stage because like this is the best thing you can be at the moment. So we'll be having a lot of other like active management to do going forward. Yeah, so but it all is like it's we're full steam ahead. There are a lot of things for us to do. We just wish we have 48 hours. Everyone on the team wish we have 40 hours to build and earn, versus 24 hours. This is the reality.
Sounds good. All right. So question number. Oh, yep. Kyle, do you
I
want
was
to?
gonna ask a question to Malchi. This is off the script a bit as well, but I think a lot of people are really scared of the markets and scared of the incoming bear market, right? Even though, like you said, Marshy, our treasury is all in stables at the moment. But how do you think that we can survive the coming bear market, and what are the best plays you think we have available for
Oh,
Concave?
that's so easy. So easy. Ready? Ready? Build and chill. There you go.
Yeah, I mean that's a good one. Building provides value, like tangible value, which drives revenue, right? So that's always a good one. We're not going to stop innovating, even
I was thinking
the
about this a little bit, Cowd, actually, how regardless of what the market does, like we have the runway to build for years. And another thing to note is like a lot of the engineers here work off of pure like love alone, like they're not all even paid. So it's in a sense like even if the market nukes, first we have a treasury that's agnostic, and second, we have people who are agnostic, who are willing to sit here and not even get paid for the work just because they believe in the project. So like building continues. FUD happens, building continues. Market nukes, building continues. It's not going to stop. So yeah, I don't know that a team of engineers like this, has, how should I say, the pipeline that we're creating here for software, like it's being stood up right now, and it's standing up in the coming months or even weeks. Like I imagine we're going to hit a serious stride and start pumping things out. Like it cannot be overstated how much of a nuisance it is to set up the architecture to build like a manufacturing line, but that's there now. So like the pain point is done. So now it's just building, 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 building. So anyway, yeah.
Great. I guess to add on that question, Isaac, I guess going off script as well. I guess like adding on to that question, what kind of revenue could we like make in a bear market per se? Like obviously like you don't have to answer this right now. I know that this is like pretty early. It's just like pretty early brainstorming thoughts, but like just coming from like your perspective or say another engineer's perspective, like what kind of products do you think would work well in a bear market?
What kind of products work well in a bear market? Well, that's an interesting
Cope and
question.
chill. Cope and chill. We should have a cope detector machine. The better you cope, it give you more coins. Send it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that would do
Cope
great
and
in a bear market.
I mean, there's not like, yeah. Sorry, I wanna. I want to share some perspective on the money managing part, but like you guys can finish this one first.
You want to add to that?
Open
Or...
chill.
Oh
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, okay.
it's just, yeah. All right. I'll share a few. I'll say a few things about. I didn't really answer Kyle's question. As a starting point, right? But how basically, okay, just from the money management perspective, as many of you guys know, I work at an institution, and this is my job. And in a bear market, in a volatile sideways market, you don't want to take dollar risk, right? You don't want to directly taking huge dollar risk, right? Or minimum dollar risk, like spot risk. That's just a no go, right? That's the first principle. And then you want to be generating. Oh, like yeah, you want to be generating revenue or generating value from a market dynamic that's in the bear market, right? Which is so a couple of strategies where I'm doing if there's no multi-sig on my own, right? Number one is alpha, quantitative alpha. Number two, right, triangle ARP. Number three, option strategies on centralized exchange. Number four, CTA, trend following, right? Trend following CTA strategies, and those are very hard to implement. Number five, a dynamic delta neutral LP farming strategy, right? Out of the five I just mentioned, four of them relies on a centralized exchange. This is just the reality of the world. You need high liquidity, right? It's high to medium frequency. I do that, right? And then, like, it's very hard with safety. We can't just say, like, safety is something we can't compromise. So multi-sig will be here, right? Those four are sort of hard to implement currently with the infrastructure. The only other ones that can, like, the only one left that left us was the dynamic delta neutral hedging, delta neutral LP farming strategy. And that, right, as you know, 90% in the bear market, probably 95% of people, if you just go LP, you're probably going to GG. You're going to lose a lot of money. So my advice to you is don't do it. Let a professional do it. I know the formula, right? I know how to risk control it. I know the formula to go to the right pool to do it, right? We're implementing that. So that's going to be something we'll be slowly ramping up on our end, other than just the treasury. For now, right, given we don't have the bonding rolling off, we're not doing anything just yet. So to answer your question, Carl, right, stable is one thing. The other thing I can think of best survives the in the bear market, right? What really adds value is to provide liquidity, to provide market efficiency. So a dynamic delta neutral LP farming strategy is the next one I would go for concave treasury.
So would it be fair to say that in a bear market, a project like Concave will fill with expertise in like surviving the bear market would do extremely well compared to the average investor?
I wouldn't promise will be extremely well, but you will not only survive but also generating yield, but also be ready when the market turns. And that's for us, for the community, and also for the team to call. But it hasn't really started, to be honest, and then it's about to start. That's where we are at the moment.
Yeah, and
But yeah,
and you
I
know,
agree with
for
you.
perspective, you know, at the early stages, like we were building with the bear market in mind. Like we have, like not gonna lie, we have some of the bearish, the most bearish people in the server, but like these are
I'm the most bearish people in the ecosystem. Just nuke it, fucking nuke it. I love to see it. Nuke
but
it, we got rich again. Everyone, we're waiting for that opportunity. The harder you nuke, the better opportunity it is. Not only for Concave, but for all of us.
yeah, but
I
yeah,
said it, right? Wookie, imagine being bullish at the moment.
oh, that's funny. But yeah, so we have like we have some bearish people, but these people like basically they're very smart and they offer like, you know, perspective. You know, we don't want to be like all hopium all the time. Like that doesn't help at the end of the day. And this protocol was built with a bear market in mind. Say a bear market happened. Like we had a plan. You know, we raised enough funding to basically have us survive through a bear market. And so, you know, I'd say we are like very well positioned. Like we were thinking about this in mind, and I think it was a good idea to plan ahead for this sort of situation. So kudos to the team. Kudos to the team.
Hey, I see Super Supply threw a nice question. Maybe you wanna, I'll tag you in it, Miyashi or Akron. Maybe you wanna read it off. I think it's definitely worth answering this one.
Yeah, tag it and then I'll read it out loud, I guess. Let's see. All right, Super Supply asks, how can I trust someone who goes all in the UST plus 3 curve pool, exits when depeg, and then goes all in a more illiquid pair of DOLA?
All right,
Go
boss, Mr. Miyashi.
I mean, well, I wasn't even here when it's Deepak, but you know, someone's a great mind of the policy team. They made the change, but I think, you know, on the other end, you can see this shows something that we react fast, right? We know we always we saw this coming. As a matter of fact, we're discussing the USD Deepak even days before, and we're ready when things happen, and we kind of got out of the situation unscathed, and that just means that shows we are, you know, we're nimble enough to see things are coming. And I don't want to say it's it's a stable coin, right? This is you know, we understand, like it's not like it's like a beanstalk event, and this is I mean, this much. I mean, I don't know what else to say. And then obviously Dola is our partner, right? I'm sure we did due diligence before we make the decision. As a matter of fact, the direction moving from that pool to Dola was decided a couple of days ago. It just has to happen. It just happened to be, you know. And meanwhile, while we're doing this transition, event happened, which, you know, expedite our transition process.
Right. On this question, Super Supply, why don't we diversify into more stablecoin farms? Our thinking basically is that every pool, every smart contract you expose yourself to, is actually compounding your risk exponentially. So if we diverse across pools, that's kind of, in our estimation, not a good play because that's just more smart contract risk compounding with smart contract risk. So that's pretty much why, at least on the engineering perspective. There might be a good answer on the policy perspective why, but that's
Yeah, that's the thing. If you assume there is no, number one, right, I definitely see the diversification benefit. We had this talk. So the diversification benefit there, it depends on how much you gauge the chance of things like that happening, right? If you think it's super high, and then obviously you want to be super diversified. The lower it is, the less the diversification benefit there is, right? And so, I mean, also you're giving up yield versus something else. Also, the operational risk, right? Because we need to be moving it manually. So if you're if your assumption is super high and also is uncorrelated, yes, 100%. But our assumption is that things like that happening is super low, and there is a level of correlation in there. The market liquidity is a correlation. So to be honest, splitting up multiple pools really doesn't do you that much help.
Yeah, and I would say for the Dolo, like specifically for the Dolo 3 curve pool, like this was in talks like even before like the whole incident. Like we were thinking of moving it over there simply because first of all, Inverse is our partner, and also
true, yeah.
the Dolo 3 curve pool is offering like insane rewards right now because of the Urine partnership that they're doing. So like there's like a lot of like yield that's not gonna like be there forever, and it's just a good opportunity for us to move there right now. So yeah, that's the rationale on moving to the Dole pool from my perspective, anyways. Yeah, hope that answers your question. All right, let's get through to some of the live questions that we had today, and then so Johnny Bonley asks, what is the advantage of a 360 lock versus an indefinite lock, or does the limitation come from someplace else? And is it possible to implement a 360 lock with the ability to just remain locked and receive non-dilutive rewards until claimed, and no need to relock after 360 days?
Yeah, so definitely possible to do that. The code is not written in such a way as of yet. But even if your position is redeemable, you don't need to exit it. You'll continue to get rewards, right? It's not like once your position is redeemable in the smart contract, we say, oh, well, this guy, we can't give this guy anything. He needs to get out of here. As long as the tokens are in the pools and such, like the way the master chef and the index based kind of calculations work is you're going to keep getting those rewards regardless. So in a sense, you don't need to exit if you're afraid of losing your spot in that pool. Yeah, I don't know that it would make sense for us to code up something to create like a perpetual lock for people because they can just chill there. So maybe lock and chill strategy, but yeah.
Sounds goody. Sounds great. So Sauce's boss asks, if staking and bonding is not ready before seed unlock, will you delay seed unlock 2 or allow them to dump before staking and bonding?
Let's just say that will happen.
Sounds good, sir.
Second bounding will happen before seed unlocks.
Great. And I guess, well, I know everyone's waiting for this question, so I might as well ask it, and I'll just let Cass decide whether he wants to answer it or not. But when launch, sir?
Oh yeah, when launch. So man, things are looking really nice on the front end. Not gonna lie, all the mathematics and such, bonding, staking is working as we're expecting. We're doing plenty of mock testing, working closely with policy and the backend engineers and so on. I'd say at this point, bonding is good. Like we could conceivably release it possibly today. The only thing that's missing on it is small UX things to make it really.
Whoa!
Yeah, really, how should I say, comfortable to use. But as far as the core logics of it, it's chilling. Staking, the only thing that's really keeping us from releasing staking is we have some VAPR calculations which require us to kind of actually not kind of, it requires us to use a Hasura backend or a little something to cache the event data, because we got to do a little bit of mathematics relating to like the obligations, the XX obligations, et cetera, et cetera. So this way we can let the apes know what they're aping into. So I was working on that actually last night. But as far as the core business logic, man, it's looking nice. But we still want to be extremely thorough because one edge case is all it takes. But as of yet, we haven't found anything. And yeah, now as far as the actual answer to the question of when bonding, when staking, once we sort out these VAPR calculations, which shouldn't take long, at that point we open. Actually, it is open up to the co-op, so the entire co-op is already testing this. So live testing is going on.
Like phase
I
three,
don't want to.
How many patches
Yeah,
have we
like
released already? I think like 3 or 4 patches.
Oh my god,
right? From
dude,
we've been testing since like last sprint. I think we started testing really.
Dude, we're on like almost a live iteration, like we're pushing commits constantly day and night. Like we're working with operations and others in the co-op to get
Matter of fact, and maybe this is a little bit too much alpha. We're actually going to be reaching out to a select few of inspectors that have deemed to be very beneficial, like good people in the community. And Pope Andy has selected his disciples to actually let them in to get some inspectors testing on Robstein actually. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so TLDR, things are looking really nice. We are just doing some final polishing. I think within the sprint is realistic if we're being kind of conservative, but it could be shorter or longer. Dev process, like anything can happen at any time. But yeah, nothing bad has shown up yet, so it's looking pretty bullish.
And I know you said that bonding could be released today, right? But
Good,
we're planning
yeah.
on releasing bonding and staking at the same time. So I hope no one's going crazy saying, and it does seem like it, that it's going live today.
Yeah,
Said it could go live today. How much is left on the sprint? This is the second week of the sprint cycle, correct?
Yeah. So at the end of this would be the sprint, and yeah, I mean by the end of this sprint, man, I think we're gonna have pretty much all the big pieces sorted out, including what I had mentioned with the VAPR calculations and so on. But we don't want to rush anything. Like just because we're near the finish line doesn't mean we should start panicking and foaming at the mouth, because that's exactly when you make critical mistakes. So, but that's the reality of it for people who are asking, since I'm literally in there Shang as well, day in and day out, like testing this stuff. So, hopefully you guys feel good about that. But at the end of the day, your safety is our priority, even if you hate us for it or are angry at us for prioritizing your own safety. So that's what it is.
Damn seatbelts.
Yeah,
Guys,
seriously.
It's not today. Stop spamming today. All right. All right. I think that's good. Let's.
Confirmed.
We do have one. I'm gonna ask one last question from our fellow Typhuius, and he asks, one PCNV, huh? One PCNV.
Oh, we burned all that. No, the co-op isn't getting any anymore. Just kidding. Don't lose your mind. I'm just joking. But yeah, when PCNV? Well, PCNV is pretty much a very simple contract. We can write that up anytime. Naturally, we're not worried about that because, it's like cart before the horse kind of stuff. Like we want to make sure we have something that is legit, is working. And at that point, then we turn around and say, hey, everyone who put in all this sweat, blood, and tears, here's your thank you, but no thank you for the sweat, blood, and tears until the product is delivered, because otherwise we're just diverting resources to screw the community, right? If we really want to take care of the community right now, we focus on the product and testing it and making sure it's completely foolproof as much as possible. So, but it's definitely on the list, the short list, probably right after marketplace. My guess is it'll be built in conjunction with the kind of permissionless bonds as a service situation, as we're figuring that situation, and we could then shift to that. But
yeah, I want to touch base a little on that. So remember, right, what last doesn't come easy, as you can tell. We're dedicating other resources to build something that lasts, something that's difficult, something that's hard, right? So the resource is definitely, you know, we want to prioritize it well. Like given, right, you can't really redeem anything until the last of June, so it's just making it now, making it next week doesn't really matter. So that's definitely not the priority at the moment. It will be after MVP as the date close, right? As a lot of the people in the community are, you know, waiting for it. Like, who wants it more? I want it the most because, you know, this is what I'm like the team wanted it most, but that's not the priority. The priority is to actually build the stuff, right? So so yeah, this is prioritization, right? That's the reason. You know, also again, as Kazuma mentioned, it's a simple one with the logic is already being written. We just need to change a few configs. And then, right, in terms of 1P token, I told like all the core team they had a milestone bonus. We didn't reach it, right? None of us are getting any of those. So as there are some truths to the joke, it's burned, right? Work harder, well then we'll learn. If not, like, you know, we're not the core. I mean, the NFT holders, you can get anything that's been promised to you. You will get your fair share of P token. It's just us. We're not getting the thing we expect to get because, you know, we have milestones and we didn't reach it, and we face it. I'm sorry. I mean, people's gonna hate me, but it is what it is.
Okay.
Kasu's probably gonna hate me. You probably gonna hate me, Akram. But yeah, GG.
And
We're not getting it.
to clarify, Typhoon said, "Oh, he didn't ask my full question." So his full question was, if PCNV tokens were going to be part of the next release, since Cass said PCNV was going to be with the NFT marketplace. So I think we answered that, right?
Yes, right. He said you're asking if the sorry, I'm DMing Wookie right now. Could you run that question once more by me, sir?
So basically, is it going to be released with the NFT marketplace or after, or what's the launch plans for the PCNV?
Oh, PCV. Yeah, so definitely marketplace is going to get the full attention first. And again, that just goes back to, you know, we need to build out the MVP before we even think about, you know, rewarding people for being here in terms of, you know, for P tokens and so on. But yeah, I would say right after. And again, it's a kind of a minimal effort. It's just a basic ERC20 with some simple logic associated with it, in conjunction, like kind of tied into the CNV token. But yeah, say after marketplace. Short answer.
Sounds good.
And there is a cliff on that, guys. So you know, hang tight. We're not the cliff point.
All right, great. Well, we are almost an hour in. I'd say this is a pretty good time to basically end the event. Yeah. So yeah, if you're in the chat, I know there's some spoons being airdropped. Feel free to tip. Feel free to like tip some of the people that you'd like to tip. You know, if you're a taskmaster, feel free to tip some of the people that are joining in the event chat. And yeah, there's a lot of giveaways happening right now with spoons. And I know that I wish Chromie was here because I know you could be offering a lot more input on spoons. But
I have a question for community.
Shoot it. Let's go.
When loot box redemption?
When loot box redemption?
Good one. Is Andy here?
Where is Andy?
I found him. The Pope can't hide.
You found him? He's here?
Yeah, I invited him to speak.
Andy, the people need you.
Andy's dropping alpha.
Oh, he's trapping in the text. Oh, Andy says when PNCMV contract live.
Apparently, there's PCNV in these loot boxes.
Say what? Say what?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
That's all I had.
All right. Sounds good, sirs. I think this is a good time to end it. Thank you, everyone, for coming into our sync session. If you have any more questions, feel free to post in the event chat. Our community members will take a look at it and get back to you on that. And yeah, thank you, everyone, for being such great sports. And, you know, look forward to our staking and bonding launch. Soon TM. Wag me, everyone.
Wag me.
More do you want?
Wag me. Inspectors, look forward.
How much more successful do you want me to be?
More successful.
How many records can my records break?
More records.
But I'm the best.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
What the f does that mean?
You're welcome.
What the f is he talking about?
That day, Greenbow County. And when I got there, I figured since I'd gone this far, might as well turn around, just keep on going. When I got to...
Shoot! Quiet, he's gonna say something.
Why he trying, and I don't know, like this Monday we'll be meeting my family with my fiance family.
You know, everybody
that
contributes when we win, and certainly when we lose too. We win as a team, we lose as a team.
Oh, well imagine as I enter a new that through an invite on Discord, and I can't help but to join. No, I can't help but to create memes for a new role. What are these different roles? What a beautiful role, says a minor to a foreman. I created a meme. What a meme, I turn myself into a whore. I'm tired of getting rolled with any project that has the same forks in it. But this project is spoons and culture, and it's called Concave. I'm tired of getting rolled with any project that has the same forks in it. But this project is spoons and culture, and it's called